Hello and welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint Show. I am your host, Jay Jones. Black Entrepreneur Blueprint was created specifically to educate and inspire Black entrepreneurs to launch, build, and grow successful businesses. Join us as we help build an economic power base in the Black community by promoting business ownership. If you are currently an entrepreneur or want to be an entrepreneur, we invite you to join us every week here at Black Entrepreneur Blueprint.
Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, episode number 172. I'm your host, Jay Jones, and today we have a dynamic interview with independent filmmaker, Miss Raeshelle Cooke. Now, for all of you entrepreneurs and prospective entrepreneurs out there listening, Raeshelle is leveraging her job to move into her purpose in life. So Raeshelle currently has a full-time job, but she uses her job to finance her independent films. And this is a great interview. And one of the reasons that I really wanted to put this interview on is because we like to interview people in different stages of their entrepreneurial journey. So hold tight, and we're going to listen to Miss Raeshelle Cooke's entrepreneurial journey. We are on the line with Miss Raeshelle Cooke, aspiring filmmaker. Raeshelle, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you, Jay?
Great. We are great, and we appreciate you taking the time to talk to the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint family. And for those of us who don't know you, please tell me a little bit about your background, and then we'll get into your entrepreneurial journey.
Okay, so I'm an independent filmmaker. I've been making films for, I want to say, 3 to 4 years now, and I've mainly produced, directed, and written short films. I also direct music videos, and I have my own company called RMC Pictures. So I'm mainly a filmmaker, but I'm also a library assistant at Bridgewater State University. So what I do is I teach bibliography instructions to classes that come in to us. I teach graduate students, and we circulate tests and things like that. And basically, I'm trying to transition from a full-time library assistant to a paid filmmaker. And also, I'm trying to buy some assets as well so that I don't have to work a full-time job. But yeah, I'm into a lot of different things.
Cool,
yeah.
Cool. That's good. And it's funny, a lot of entrepreneurs we have our hands in different things. So I want to focus on right now, you as an independent filmmaker. What was the impetus or when did you find out that that's really what you wanted to do?
It was back in 2011. So I was a student, and let me see. I had just finished working as a sports writer for the daily newspaper, because I love professional sports, and I have been writing articles for them for a couple of years, and I had lots of passion for it. And then when I had started taking film classes, like beginning videography classes, I realized that I really loved the creative aspect of storytelling, like creating stories, creating my own characters, and the conflicts and resolutions, and making the films. It was a great emotional outlet, because there's like a lot of emotions inside of me from different things that I've experienced, and it was just great to release those emotions and tell my story. So when I first made my first short film to the university I was attending school at, it was basically a wrap. Like, I knew this is what I wanted to do. And, just that creative aspect was awesome. It was just way better than writing for sports, which had gotten boring.
Right. Now, I see I believe it was your Facebook page, that you have a picture of Cam Newton and the Carolina Panthers on there.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm from Philly, so we had to come and spank you guys a couple of weeks ago. So I just wanted to let everybody know that. So nah.
Well, our offensive coordinator is horrible, so you guys are lucky that we still have that horrible guy.
Yeah, it was a good game. It was a good game. So I had to throw that in. I digress for a second. But with you being an independent filmmaker, is there any particular genre or niche that you focus on? Or is there social, political aspects to your films, or anything in particular, or you are just broad-based in whatever comes to mind?
It's mainly two genres that I'm focused on. The first genre is basically musical love stories, and I don't mean movies like Grease, which is my all-time, but that's like my all-time favorite film ever. But I don't mean musicals in that sense, but if you look at Beyonce's Lemonade film, basically that kind of film where the story is narrated by music or singing or spoken word, and we see the characters going through the breakup of the relationship, and then the aftermath of what the woman's going through. Those are the stories that I've told mostly. It's what I connect with and identify with most. So that's the main thing that I do, musical love stories narrated by music and spoken word.
Okay.
And then the other realm of film that I've started getting into just this year is the social and political commentary. I'm very much influenced by Rod Serling. He was the writer of The Twilight Zone. That show, I just love that show so much. So I've been getting more into social political commentary, like speaking up for Black people, Black human rights, speaking against police brutality and Black oppression, and as a Black woman, talking about and basically the errors of feminism that I believe are there. So, just basically going out of my comfort zone and making a statement and not caring who likes it, just telling the truth, and hopefully impacting lives along the way.
Right, that makes sense. So, in terms of actually financing your films, I'm going to come back to the two genres that you focus on, but I want to ask you, in terms of financing your films, how do you do that? For any aspiring independent filmmakers out there, what was your blueprint, or how did you go about doing that?
Well, unfortunately, it's been my full-time job. That's the way that I finance my films. So basically, I'll do a budget. So if I know I have a script and I know I want to make this movie, I'll create a budget. Like, okay, these are the crew that I need. I need a DP. I need a sound man. I need a PA. I need these many actors, and these are how many shoot days we're gonna have. And this is, let me see. So I'll need lunch for this day and that day. This is how much it'll cost to have everybody, or at least the key members of the crew and the cast paid. So so basically, every time I get paid, I'll set aside a certain amount of money from my paycheck to pay for them, and then so this is before we actually shoot. So I take at least 3 months of pre-production to prepare. So I'll be saving within those 3 months, so that when we do shoot, I'll have the money to pay the cast and the crew. But it's definitely my full-time job, and that's another reason why I keep a full-time job, because that would be the only way that I could make films. If I didn't work, then it would be more difficult to save a budget and make films. Some people, they're freelancers. They'll do corporate video, but that's not my thing. I don't want to do weddings. I don't want to do videography. I did the music video thing, and, some people still request music videos, but, I'm controlling. I don't want them, it's like I like to have creative control over my stuff, so it's not as fun as making short films. So I don't even really do that much. I'm just very particular about what I want to do, and, if I was doing freelancing, it just wouldn't, it would kind of be like having a regular day job, because I don't want to do this. I want to make films and be creative. So I have to keep my full-time job right now until I build assets that will pay for my films, and I'm working on that.
Great. Well, it's funny. I did a show a couple weeks ago about leveraging and leveraging your job to be able to start and work on your business. And obviously you're doing that right now. So I want the light bulb to go off to all the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint family members. What Raeshelle is doing, she's leveraging her income from her job to work on her business. So a lot of the listeners to the show are in that transition mode, working for corporate and looking to move over. So do you have an exit date or a time frame that you're looking to do this?
Yes. My deadline is within the next 3 years. So one of the ways I'm going to get out of working full-time is through investing in real estate and small businesses. So I do have a mentor. I don't think he knows it yet, but he's my mentor. So I'm a part of this group that he basically leads, where we all invest. It's like a bunch of us, Black people, Black investors, financially literate Black investors that come together, and we bring deals to the group. Like, okay, this is a piece of real estate. This is an apartment building. This is a subway. This is a convenience store. How much money can we pull together to basically buy it? And this is what the income would be. And there's also people that bring deals like farmland as well to the group. So I'm a part of a group like that, and I'm going to just get into that game. I think that real estate and small businesses, that's the main, it's like the number one way to get rich in this country, I feel. So I'm definitely going to get out of the corporate world by doing that. And then once I have my real estate and my small businesses, like once I have those assets, nobody can tell me nothing. Like producers, they'll see me speaking out against police brutality, and I don't really want to stand for the national anthem, and they can't say nothing because I'll have my assets and I'll be able to pay for my own films and do my own thing. So
being self-sufficient, that's great. And that mentorship that you talked about sounds great also. Have you guys done anything, or are you still in the process of researching, or have you guys invested in anything as of yet?
Well, the people in the group, they're always investing. Like the lead of the group, he has a bunch of properties and stuff, and he's always investing. I've tried to get in a couple deals that have fallen through. Sometimes deals don't work, so you'll invest your money, and then he'll have to give you your money back because the deal didn't fall through. This seller, I guess, had I guess he just didn't want to go, finish the deal for whatever reason. So sometimes it doesn't work out, and we'll have to just wait on the next deal. But right now, I am involved with something. It was a very small investment, and I'm getting a very small profit back, but it's a start,
That's right.
So yeah, I am involved with an investment right now, but it's very small though. It's not really anything big.
Well, that's all right. You got to start somewhere. Get that experience and be able to parlay that from that point into other things. Now, one of the things, Raeshelle, that I really like what you said was basically you don't want to have to kowtow or be beholden to anybody else, and you want to focus and do what you want to do. And I think that's one of the main things that inspire entrepreneurs and prospective entrepreneurs is the freedom and the ability to do what you want to do when you want to do it without having to ask anybody and just doing it. Yeah. So that's great, because that was one of the things that always inspired me. For example, with the podcast, I've had numerous companies want to sponsor my podcast, and I've turned down tens of thousands of dollars because I don't want to be beholden to anybody else, and I want to be able to say what I want to say without having to worry about, is somebody going to pull their sponsorship. So I definitely applaud you in that, because that control is critical for our business. And it's unfortunate that a lot of times, even with this political movement and the social uprise right now, Black Lives Matter, and just us as a people trying to take this movement where we need to take it, a lot of times we can't do what we want to do because I use the example all the time. Al Sharpton, he's getting money from MSNBC, he's getting corporate donations. And what can you really do when somebody else is pulling your strings?
Yeah.
So I applaud you with that, and I'm 100% with that, because that makes all the difference. I wanted to go back to the two genres that you spoke of: musical love stories and social and political commentary. With the social and political commentary, I know you had talked about empowerment of women. You have about 9 short films out right now?
Yes. Yep.
About 9? Okay. How many of those focus on the empowerment or social and political commentary? And can you just tell us about one of the short films?
Yes. So actually, the only social and political commentary, it's only been 2 short films so far out of the 9, and I directed those this year. I just finished one film over the summer called Wrath City. So it's inspired by the 7 deadly sins, and it asks the question, what would wrath look like as a city? So I had an idea with what wrath would look like as a city, so I wrote it, and it's basically about a fictional angry town and a Haitian woman who happens to live in that town, and she's being deported out of the town for committing an awful crime. And it's a dialogue-heavy film, and there's a lot of commentary on Black Lives Matter and police brutality. So it was in the can in July, and I just started submitting to film festivals. But given the content and everything, I know that there are going to be some film festivals that are not going to take it. So I actually have another plan to show the film and basically travel the country and talk about it, because, like I said, they're not going to control me and what I put out and what I screen or what I say. Like, I'm not going to be a slave to these to anybody,
No, I respect that.
Yeah, or to their approval either. Like, I'm not going to wait around for their approval. I'm already working on a plan to travel and get this film screened.
Great. Now, when we spoke off the air, you had mentioned that you had sent your film to several film festivals. And how did that work out for you?
So, with the Wrath City film, or all of them?
Just in general.
So I've actually been fortunate enough to have had my film screened, many of my films screened across the country, from Los Angeles to Las Vegas, Minneapolis, a lot of film festivals, a lot of local film festivals in New England, like Vermont, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and even Berlin in Germany. So I've been very fortunate to have had a lot of screen time, and I've been very lucky to win a few awards. One on Best Genre Blend, which is actually mixing music and spoken word and film together. So I actually have an award for that, for what I do. So that was great. And also there was one for New Best Comer. That's when I first started out in film. And then I had gotten a special mention at the LA Film Awards recently.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So I have had some success that I'm proud of.
Great. Now, you had mentioned before when we spoke off the air about going and speaking at schools. Is that a revenue generator, or is that more for exposure for your films?
Oh, yes, this is going to be a revenue generator.
There you go.
Yes. Well, so I'm actually speaking at Bridgewater State University next week. That's going to be my very first speaking engagement, and it's free. And that's going to be just to build up the demo, because in order to submit to universities or to anybody for speaking gigs, you have to have a demo. You have to have a video of you speaking. So that's the purpose of this speaking gig. I'm gonna have a professional videographer record it, and then from there, I've already so there's this program runner. She runs a program called Girls on a Mission in Harlem, New York, and she wants me to speak for her group of girls about my filmmaking and how I've done it. I wouldn't mind that being free either, because like I said, I'm trying to build my recordings so that I can just submit to a bunch of, I'm going to create a spreadsheet of all the universities and schools that I want to submit to, and I'm going to submit to a bunch of them. And this will definitely be a way to get some revenue from my short films, like I can get a return on my short films. People say that you can't make money on short films. You can make money on anything, like
That's right.
in the world. You just have to be creative and financially intelligent. There's a bunch of money being exchanged every single day. Some people say, "Oh, I can't make money off this." No, I ask the question, how can I make money off this? So I'm going to make money off my short films, and one day I'm gonna move up to feature films. And
Great. No, that's a great mindset. In terms of a short film, because I know absolutely nothing about the industry except for what my oldest daughter, is kind of coming behind you. She's making short films, and she's into the entertainment business, and she's getting ready to graduate from college. So I don't know if she's going to go the journalism route or trying to do something in the PR or marketing, but she's actually doing some short filmmaking right now in her last semester or her last year at school, and she really enjoys it. So my question to you is, for an aspiring young independent filmmaker, can you give us an idea, and I know it's going to vary, of a budget for a short film? Say, now I know some of your films I've seen on your website, some are like 5 minutes, and I don't know how long the longest is, but what's a rule of thumb for budgeting, or is there?
So you can actually technically make a short film for free. Obviously, you'll get what you pay for. So the short film may not be of high quality as it could be if you paid to have really good crew and cast. But you can technically make a short film for free, because there are a lot of crew that are coming out of college basically, and they're trying to get their reel started. So they'll jump on a crew on a film for the experience and for the real footage. And then, the same goes for the actors. So you could do it for free, or if you do want to have better crew members and better actors who are professionals and who charge for their services, I would say you can make a short film for $1,000, I would say. The last short film that I made was around $2,000, or a little more. So I would say it's between $1,000 and $2,000 for a short film where you have better crew and better actors, I would say.
See, that's good, because I had no idea what something like that would cost. Now, in terms of the actual screenplay, so you do the writing also, or do you bring people in to help you do the actual screenplay?
Oh, I write all my stuff. I write it and direct it and edit it, and I bring in the DP, the cinematographer, for the camera work and for the lighting. And then he or she would bring in a gaffer, somebody to help light, and I would also bring in a sound man if the movie has dialogue. A lot of my films don't have dialogue, but sound is like the most important thing, I would say, in a movie. Like, really good sound is critical. If you don't have good sound, then the movie's going to suffer. Even if it's really good writing and really good acting, if the sound's really bad, then that's not good at all. So I definitely prioritized sound in the last film that I made, Rat City. It was the first film that I made that had dialogue leading the narrative. So I definitely went out and looked for a professional sound man. So yeah, I definitely get good sound, a really good cinematographer and a gaffer and a PA as well. I try to keep it pretty small.
Cool. That makes a lot of sense. Now, with your films with dialogue, do you also have music accompanying that dialogue? When we watch TV, and the music a lot of times with the actual dialogue and the visual is what makes the movie. So do you have music with any of your films with dialogue?
So for Rat City, I did discuss having music during dialogue with my sound man, and he actually suggested, and I actually agreed with him, that if we had put music under the dialogue, it would have come off very melodramatic. So, and I definitely agreed with him. It definitely would have come off very melodramatic and kind of corny, I would say. I don't know. I can't really explain it, but we felt that it would have definitely been better to just have them talking, make it look and sound more like a docudrama as opposed to, one of those films you see on TV. I feel like a lot of times in independent film, filmmakers will do that too much. They'll put music over dialogue, and it just comes off so melodramatic, and it just doesn't fit. And then I just think to myself, this would have been much better if there was no music at all. I think it's very important to basically differentiate between, okay, is this good? Should we put music or should we not? And make that decision, and that was definitely a no for Rhapsody.
That makes sense. In terms of any aspiring filmmakers, what advice, or what couple of pieces of advice can you give aspiring filmmakers, independent filmmakers like yourself, to move them from maybe just the thought of doing their first film to actually creating the film?
Yeah, I would say definitely just go out and make the film. Because they're right. There are a lot of people that write films, or they'll say that they're a filmmaker, but they never actually go out and make the film. Like I know of some people that are kind of egotistical, or they'll tell you about how to make a film, or what you're supposed to do, what you're not supposed to do, or they kind of think they're a big shot, but they've never actually made a film before. And it's like you just have to go out and do it. Just get a camera. A lot of people are making films on their iPhones now, and it acts out to really good quality. The camera quality is really good on an iPhone, so you can get the camera on your iPhone, and you can get your friends, and you can just make a film just to say that you did it, at least. And then if you have a screenplay, that would start with breaking down the screenplay, figure out how many days you can shoot it, get a location for it, and get your crew and your cast. There are Facebook groups online that are dedicated to finding crew and cast. So, you would post an ad, okay, I'm looking for a cinematographer, an actor, a sound man, and then people will respond to the ad. You can get crew and cast that way, or you can go to film festivals and other film-related events and network with people, help them on their sets, because then they'll remember you, and then they'll return the favor. So it's definitely, I would say it's just a matter of doing it. It's difficult to make a really good film, but it's easy to make a film. Even if it's bad, that will happen, but it's very easy to get started.
Do you know off the top of your head that website that you can get crew and cast members, so that way anybody that's looking to or aspiring can go on that site?
Yeah. So I live in New England, so the websites that I use, one website is newenglandfilm.com. So there's a website for it, and there's also a Facebook group for it. So I would post ads to both the website and the Facebook group, because different people, one person may only check the Facebook group but not the website, and vice versa. There's also NE Actor, that stands for New England Actor. So neactor.com, that's where you can get a lot of actors. You can go on backstage.com to get actors. So I actually got a lot of my actors for the last film I did, Rhapsody, through Backstage, and they were very good. They were definitely of great quality on Backstage, so I would definitely recommend Backstage to get actors. They're very professional on that website. I'm trying to think if there's any other. There's stage32.com, where you can post ads for crew as well. And just on Facebook, so if you're on the New England Film Facebook group, you'll see on the side somewhere similar groups. There's a group called, I think it's Crew and Casting Ops, for instance, and there are groups where you can find composers for films, and that'll just be under similar groups when you're on a film-related group. I'm trying to think of if I know of any other. I know that there's also Hollywood East. I don't really use that, but I do know that a lot of other people use that if they're in New England too.
Those are great resources. I'm glad you were able to roll those off. So any Black Entrepreneur Blueprint family members, Raeshelle is giving you the blueprint. She's giving you resources. So please, if this is something that you want to do, please continue to move forward to that. Raeshelle, I wanted to talk to you about a specific time in your business as you're trying to make films that you failed or you had a setback, and how did you overcome that, if you did overcome it?
So I've actually had a lot of different setbacks over the 9 films that I've done. For the first independent film that I did outside of college, I would say it was getting a crew together, because I was new at it, so I wasn't very known, and I didn't know of the different resources to get cast and crew. People didn't really know me, or I hate to say this, but maybe I didn't have much credibility because I was just starting out. So it was getting people to take me seriously, getting people to believe in me and my vision. I felt like people didn't really take me seriously. And, you know, I don't like that stuff. I take that stuff very personally, because I'm someone to take seriously even then. But that was okay, because I got the film made. I found a great DP, and I got a crew together and actors. We got the location, and we filmed the short film in 2 days. Yeah, the first issue, so we had to reshoot again on the second day, so that was very frustrating. But after all of those difficulties, we managed to get 2 awards for that film, and that was like the first one I had done outside of college. So yeah, it was very frustrating, but it makes you grow. You know, it makes you handle things better for the next time. So I was very appreciative of the experience.
Now, with the reshooting, do you put extra dollars into your budget if you have to reshoot, and just for things of that nature? Maybe you can't shoot due to the weather and you still have to pay people. How does that work? And how do you prepare for that?
Yes, that's more money. So that's another reason why it's so frustrating, because when we did that first film, I was paying to have the location. It was like a per hour thing. So I had to pay extra money to reshoot. And then if I had agreed with the location guy to only shoot for 8 hours, and we go over those 8 hours, for example, I would, more money would have to come out of my pocket. So that was very frustrating. And the last film that I did, Rash City, we actually had that same issue. Something had happened that was out of our control, where basically we couldn't shoot a couple of scenes that we had planned for the day because something had happened.
And I want the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint family to take note. We always talk about it's not if things are going to happen, but when they happen and when it's going to happen. So Raeshelle was prepared to spend that extra money in case something like that happens. And now, in terms of your business, I know you have a 3-year plan to exit corporate America.
I see myself taking RMC Pictures, my production company, basically nationally and internationally, traveling west, traveling south, traveling to other countries outside the United States, making films in other countries. That's something that I really would love to do. I've always wanted to make a film in Paris, for instance, Italy and Germany, meeting the different filmmakers in other states and other countries. And also, so music videos is a good way to basically work with people and realize their visions for their music. I love music, so I'm not opposed to continuing directing music videos. That's a good way to get paid when it comes to the creative realm of filmmaking. So I would also consider doing that outside of New England, and definitely speaking nationally and internationally. I'm already thinking about my future and how, basically where I see myself and what I see myself doing. I definitely see big things.
One of the things that kind of struck me, Raeshelle, you said that you do 3 months of pre-production. And for our aspiring filmmakers, can you just briefly tell us the whole process from the beginning, the concept? What do you do next? Do you write the script and then take us all the way into the shooting? So if you can just give us a brief overview of the steps that you take once you come up with your inspiration, and what are those steps so our aspiring filmmakers can know and kind of follow your blueprint.
So I write the script, and so after I write, when I'm writing the script, I write for location. So if I know I can't afford a bar or something, and I have my own apartment to shoot in, I'll write a contained script where the film happens mainly in an apartment, so that way I know I can definitely shoot the script and it would be affordable. So I'll write with that in mind, and then after I have the script, I'll break down the script. So it's basically dividing the script into its scenes. So if the script has 12 scenes, I'll break it down and I'll try to determine how many days I can shoot all of these scenes in. So it's basically, okay, I can shoot 5 scenes, so take away 5 from 12, and then divide the rest, and maybe it'll come out to, okay, I can shoot these scenes in 3 days, for instance. So then I'll go look for a location, and I'll set the date, and then I'll go and get crew and actors, and I'll basically have that date and location already, so that they can tell me right away if they can work on that date or not. And if they cannot work on the date, I'll find crew and cast that can work on the date. That's the ideal way of doing it. It doesn't always work out that way. Like for me, sometimes obviously I'll have to compromise and find another date to do it. But the ideal way of doing it is having the cast and crew work around your schedule. So then you have the dates, you have the cast and crew, you shoot it. So let's say it takes 3 days. You have a schedule for each day to basically keep you focused and make sure you cover everything in the script. Schedule for each day, a shooting schedule, and a shot list for each day. And then after, you would edit the film. So I have my own editing software, Adobe Premiere Pro. I taught myself how to edit. So I would encourage people to teach themselves how to edit. Teach yourself how to write. There are screenwriting programs like Celtic that you can download. That used to be free, and so you basically edit it, and then you submit it to a bunch of film festivals in the hopes of getting more exposure and connection. And if it's a feature film, though, I mean that's different. You would have to create a distribution plan, and that's actually another thing that. Like I already have a folder on my Google Drive account of deliverables. Like I'm already getting ready for my feature film so that I can be ready, to get a film distributed. So
great. That's great.
That's basically a brief way, though.
Great. I just have a few more questions for you. I definitely don't want to hold you up, but I wanted to ask you in reference to distribution you had just mentioned. Now, with the advent, obviously, of technology today, did you ever think about going direct? I know Damon Dash has, I forgot what his platform is, but he goes direct and he does his movies direct to the consumer. Have you ever thought about that, or did you want to go the traditional distribution way?
I have thought about that a lot, and I try to read up and research, what the pros and cons of each is. Because I do know that with traditional, I don't know, so it's like a mixed bag. Like sometimes you'll make a lot of money, or sometimes you won't make any money, and maybe the distributor will take all the money. Like sometimes you'll get cheated. There are a lot of filmmakers that get cheated by distribution companies. Or, like let's say you go direct. I feel like it's more difficult to make that payoff, to get a lot of money from that. But at the same time, that you'll get all of the money. Like nobody's going to take a high percentage from that.
Right.
And you control, you control all of the funds. You know where it's going. So there are definitely pros and cons to it. As for me and what I'm going to do, I've been thinking about it a lot, and I think I'm going to pursue traditional distribution, but I'm definitely learning a lot as far as what clauses should be in a contract, what you should not sign, and basically the different things that you need to look for in a contract that you need to have to protect yourself, and the things that you should not sign, because a lot of filmmakers are getting screwed because they're just ignorant to clauses and what they mean. So I've just been researching on that a lot because I'm not going to get screwed.
Right.
I'm learning the
That's
business
right.
side of filmmaking. I'm learning a lot this year. That's the difference between if a filmmaker succeeds in this business or fails. It doesn't matter if you're really, really talented. If you're ignorant to the business side, you're not going to make it. So I'm learning the business side. I'll always have the plan B option of going direct and doing it myself, but I feel I'm good enough to get traditional distribution.
That makes sense. Now, have you ever thought about my daughter, second semester of junior year, she was out at USC doing a program out there for journalism and filmmaking, and she interned at HBO in Santa Monica this past summer. So she was really excited and talking about entertainment industry. She got to meet the president of Netflix, who was an alumni from school and things like that. And so would you be open to selling your screenplay or your script, or do you want to take it all the way directly to the distributor as a finished product?
So I think as far as if I want to take a screenplay to a distributor so that they can make the film, it would be a screenplay that I don't really have a lot of passion for. Okay. It's just for business purposes. Like, okay, I don't like when I write something, I feel very passionate about it, and I'm the one that has the vision, and I'm the one that wants to make it into a film. But if I know right away that this is mainly to get distribution, to get money, then I'm going to write for the market. So, for instance, horror is very lucrative. I'm not a horror person, although a lot of people seem to think that my films have a lot of horror elements. I don't mean for it to happen that way, but I'm not a horror fan, and I don't like to write horror. But I know it's very lucrative. So if I know I want to get distribution and make a lot of money, I'm going to write a feature film, a horror film. And, it's like I'm not attached to horror or that script, so I'm going to go right away to that production company. So I'm already going to have these plans in mind. It's just thinking it through and strategizing. And then but if it's a film that I'm very passionate about, I'm going to make it myself. And then I'm going to basically research distribution companies that have distributed films that are similar to mine, and I'm going to basically send inquiries to all those distribution companies, like create a spreadsheet and track, who I contacted, and then of course I'll have a plan B, going direct, doing it myself, or if it's something like a Rap City with social political commentary, I can even contact schools and ask them if they would like to buy it. So yeah, there are definitely a lot of different ways, and it's just a matter of strategizing.
There you go. I tell you, you're a young woman in control. I love it. I'm trying. Yeah, you're controlling everything about your art, and I respect that and I appreciate that. I got two more questions for you. The first one is, since you're in the entertainment industry in the field, what do you think about the portrayal of blacks, men, women, whatever, in the media today, on television, movies, and things of that nature?
So I think that a lot of black people, especially in reality TV, they're portrayed as ghetto, as shallow. When I look at television, like during the day, I'm here during the day because I work night shifts. So I see what's on television. It's a lot of court shows where young black women are, promiscuous. They don't know who their daddy is. And then they talk about how, that's why they're promiscuous, because they don't know who their father is, and it bothers them. Even though I grew up with my father, I haven't, known him or had him in my life since I was 12. And I have a good head on my shoulders. I've never been pregnant in my life, and I don't plan to be until I want to be. Right. When I look at myself, I don't look at myself as this victim because I don't have a father in my life. I look at myself as a boss and somebody to take seriously. So I do not like the portrayals of black women. And also, we don't get a lot of lead roles unless, of course, we're that obnoxious ghetto woman or the side chick to a white scandal. So like. I don't like the portrayals, and that's why I put a lot of black women in the lead in my movies. I prioritize that, in fact, to show that we are multidimensional. We have different stories to tell. We are articulate, intelligent, and we're not going to be minimized and degraded like this. So it's not just about complaining. I'm actually doing something to change it. And as far as black men, I just think that there are not enough masculine portrayals of black men in film and television. I feel that a lot of black men are being emasculated. I would like to see more masculine portrayals of black men in film and television, like what we were seeing in the 1970s with people like James Evans and George Jefferson, and then in the 80s with Heathcliff Huxtable. I would like to see those strong male, those black male figures again, and I don't really see that either, and I think that's a problem.
Yeah, well, that all comes back down to being able to control what we see on TV, and that's why I applaud you for taking control and ownership of what you put out there, which is great. Before I ask the last question, actually, I'm going to ask you the last question, and then after that, I'm going to let you tell the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint family how they can reach out to you, look at your films, your contact information, and anything that you want to share. But the last question I always ask everybody on the show is, if you had a chance to have a conversation with somebody living or dead, who would it be and why?
So it's funny because I'm torn between answering with the business side or the musical artsy side. If it was business, I think I would have a conversation with Diddy, because he's very successful. He's very much for the black people, I love his Instagram page. It's very motivational and inspiring. Like, he inspires me. He's like one of the most successful black entrepreneurs, and I don't know, I would just like to ask him, how does he do it? And he acknowledges racism and all that. He's not one of those black people that forgets about black people or pretends that racism doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. So I would definitely like to sit down and have a conversation with him about business, what he's done to be as successful as he's been, and to combat racism and all that. I think he would be very honest in that approach. But if it was like the musical artsy side, it would definitely be John McVie, the bassist for Fleetwood Mac.
There you go.
If it was that side, because I love that band. They inspire me as far as like filmmaking. I've written films that are inspired by that band, and his story is the one that I would really like to hear more about. He's more mysterious, but I don't know. There are a lot of stories that I would like to know about from him. So.
Yeah, out of Fleetwood Mac, it's like Mick Fleetwood, you know him, Stevie Nicks, Lindsey Buckingham, Christy McVie, and then John McVie. He's like the afterthought. But but yeah. That was the first time I got a Fleetwood Mac reference on Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. But but that's cool. But so, Raeshelle, I really appreciate you sharing this information. And one of the things that I love to do is maybe catch back up with you 6 months, whatever, down the road as you continue your journey. I think it's a great journey that you're on, and I really respect what you're doing and confidence that you have in yourself to get it done. And not just the confidence, but you have a game plan, leveraging your job to move into what you want to do and what you've been put here to do. So I love it. I respect it. So please tell the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint family how they can connect with you, how they can see your films, anything that you want to share with the BEB family.
Yes, so if you want to see my short films and music videos, you can go on www.vimeo.com/my first name, RAESHELLE. So it's vimeo.com, VIMEO. And you can also go on my other website, RaeshelleCooke.com. I also have an IMDb page, just so y'all know I'm legit.
There you go. That's what's up.
And if I'm also looking to go on more speaking engagements. I would love to travel and speak to different people. If there are any film classes or aspiring filmmakers, women or black people that are coming up that would like to know or hear about my filmmaking process or how I've gained success and where I'm going, how I'm going to get there, definitely let me know. You can contact me on any of those websites. So, yeah.
Raeshelle, you have an E in your last name, right?
Yes.
Okay, so spell that out, because a lot of times people think of Cook, C-O-O-K, they don't put the E, so it's C-O-O-K-E. So, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so, yeah, because it's funny, because I was looking at it just now on your email that we had spoken back and forth, and when I wrote it down on my notes, I forgot the E, and I was like, all right, let's make sure we have that on there. But, Raeshelle, I really appreciate the time that you spent with the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint family. I mean, I think it was a dynamic and informative interview, And we need to start controlling our media and the depiction of us as a people and not leaving it up to other groups to depict us. And obviously, unfortunately, the way they have us looking cooning and buffooning, unfortunately, we need to change that narrative. Anything that we can do to support you, let us know when your next film comes out or whatever. Reach out to us, and we'll be more than happy to bring you back on or spread the word about what you're doing. And once again, I really appreciate your time.
Oh, thank you, Jade. And thank you for having me on your show. It's been a really awesome interview. So.
Cool. Same here. Okay, Raeshelle, we will talk to you soon.
Okay, see you later.
Okay. That was a powerful interview with independent filmmaker Miss Raeshelle Cooke. There's so many takeaways that we have here, but just to touch on a few. Number one, she had talked about how when she was starting out, she never marginalized herself, even though she didn't have a track record. She believed in herself and in her talent. And to be successful as an entrepreneur, you have to have that type of belief. Also, Raeshelle talked about planning her films. She goes 3 months out of pre-planning to make sure everything is on time. And when she came into setbacks or obstacles came across her path, she was ready for it. So when her film ran over budget on that one instance she spoke about, she had the money to take care of it. It was forethought and it's planning. And also the last thing I want to talk about is leverage. And I did a show several months back about leveraging every asset that you have. And if you're still currently working for somebody else, leverage that job to finance your business as Raeshelle is doing. So, I mean, she hit on some great topics. We definitely want to support her at the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint family. So please check out her films on Vimeo. If you need all her contact information, it's going to be on the website, blackentrepreneurblueprint.com, under the podcast tab, and I'll have links to her sites. Also, please continue to spread the word, guys. We're getting so many downloads each and every month, which is tremendous, and I attribute that all to the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint family, which is you. I love it because I get a tremendous response from you guys in terms of questions and being able to dialogue back and forth via email, social media, whatever. But I love it, and I love bringing you this information, and that's my purpose in life, is to spread information and give you actionable steps. So the interview you heard today, if you're an aspiring filmmaker, independent filmmaker, reach out and talk to Raeshelle. She may be a few steps ahead of somebody that's looking to do that. And as she said, she'll be more than happy to share her experiences and her know-how with you. So as we close out, guys, please continue to spread the word on social media so we can get as many downloads as we can. Also, if you need to connect with me by email, it's jjones@blackentrepreneurblueprint.com. If you want to check out the YouTube channel, just go to YouTube, Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, Facebook, Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, Instagram, J Jones for real, JAYJONES, the number 4 REAL, and Twitter, JJones001. Love you guys. See you same time next week. Peace.